All right. Here we are live again. All right. I was just doing a little bit of research here. Well, just came back on a big jet from Florida yesterday. I'll tell you about it. Welcome to the superpilotish channel. My name is Graham Wilson, and today in my basement, I'll be telling you about a failure, oxygen mask failure. Dun dun dun. Delta Airlines flight 1506. Whoa. So actually, it wasn't that much of a failure, but it was kind of a, I don't know, it was aviation news because it happened to me. So in my mind, it's news. Okay, yeah. So being the picky aviation reporter that I am, uh, I'm gonna report on the story. So yeah, yesterday I flew back from Orlando to Detroit on a Delta Boeing 757. So um, the thing that happened with the oxygen mask, it wasn't like, how they fall down. Oh, hey, Daniel, welcome to the show. All right. So, you know how they say, oh, in the event of an emergency, the oxygen masks will drop down and then they go, boom, they drop the little oxygen mask down and they give you that whole presentation thing. Well, on the plane that I flew back on yesterday, they were started to play a little passenger safety briefing that has like each seat had a little a little display in the back of the seat in front of you, kind of thing, a little video screen, and so they started playing that, and it kind of messed up. So by law, you're required every airline or even little airplanes like I fly, you're required to give a passenger safety briefing to well your passengers. So it's like if you don't do that, you're breaking the law, and it's not as safe for people. So um, okay, the little video screwed up, and so it was. I thought it was pretty impressive actually that you could see the flight attendants like, oh, the video's not playing, and they just like boom, they got into like they had to kick it old school, and they grabbed like a demonstration oxygen mask and stuff like that, and then they're instantly positioned, boom, 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 so all the passengers could see. It was pretty impressive how quick they just said, "Oh, it's not working. Let's do it live. Do it live," like the Super Pilotish channel does. And yeah, and then I think it was the first officer that was reading off the instructions for the safety briefing. So the safety briefing has to be done by a crew member. So flight attendants, like the pilot, co-pilot guys, those are crew, of course. But the flight attendants are considered crew too. So anyone that is crew is someone that, what was it? I guess the definition of a person that's crew and not a passenger is if that person is involved with the direct operations of the flight or something like that. So if you're teaching a student how to fly, they are part of the operation of the aircraft. So when you're teaching a student how to fly, like I'm the teacher, I'm the pilot in command, but the student is crew. They're not actually a passenger. So you can get around some rules that way. But anyways, yeah, so they went and kicked it old school. And when the oxygen mask drops, boink, they drop it and then place it over your mouth and nose and then put the elastic on. And then, but the the elastic that she was using, it like broke. It's like, this is your elastic, snap. Put it over your head. And she was like, she kind of went through the motions, and she didn't really lose her cool. There's a little bit there where she was kind of like, it broke, and so I was like, I thought it was kind of funny actually. And then I was looking around, and like I was looking to see if any other people were kind of snickering or smiling like me. No one was paying attention. Like they're all on their iPads, and they're just like, this is like safety stuff. You might want to pay attention to it. Oh well, maybe it's a pilot thing, or oh, I've seen this millions of times. Well, if the cabin is, if the cabin's all filling up with smoke and people are panicking and stuff like that, you want to know where your emergency exits are beforehand and like kind of pay attention to that. Or you might want to think, Yeah. So, anyways, that was the that was the emergency. Not really, but but I was thinking there too. How often do the flight attendants like check those the masks for like usability? Like, I mean, I would think in a stretch you could kind of imagine that the demonstration oxygen mask it's kind of part of the airplane, like part of the safety briefing. You could kind of stretch it that, like, it's not like a critical thing for the operation of the airplane, but it'd be nice to have that working, and think about it too, Delta. I'm talking to you, Delta. Yeah, like if all those things are working, like you see someone that's like kind of a little hesitant flying, don't like this too much, and then they see like something just breaks, and they're like, well, if it's breaking, like if she's breaking this thing here, what else are they not paying attention to on the plane? So, oh, hey, Samart, welcome back. Yeah, so if that does, it's kind of one of like a perception thing more than an actual safety thing. But anything you can do to lesser the stress level on your passengers, that's always safer too. So there we go. So that was the news. I saw that no one was paying attention to the safety briefing, and the little elastic busted on the demonstration oxygen mask. So I don't know. That was just, there we go. My aviation reporter. I just reported that. That happened yesterday on flight 1506 from Orlando to Detroit. There you go. Report it. Put it. If you're a Delta employee, you can always stick that in the anonymous safety management system. Wouldn't hurt. And if it goes in there, it'll probably be addressed too. So, food for thought, Delta. Okay, so now we'll kind of switch over into talking about passenger safety briefings in general. So, like I said before, it's like that's mandatory for any big plane, little plane. If there's a passenger, you must brief them. And oh, hey, Wrench, welcome back to the show. And yeah, so you got to brief your passengers, and that goes for anyone. Even if you're a private pilot, you got your own plane, you're bringing someone up for a joyride, you are legally required to tell them how to exit the airplane, where's the fire extinguisher, location of the first aid kit, um, any other safety things, no smoking on board. Sometimes they say no drinking on board, but I don't know. I mean, if you're on a big jet, some people are having drinks, but drinks must be served by a crew member. That's the rule. Anyways, okay, so part of like kind of what I was talking about before is like the usage of the oxygen mask on big jets. Like, well, I guess if you had a private plane with oxygen capability, some of them are like that. They'll have either like a cannula set up, one of those little things if you're in the hospital and you got the two little things jammed up your nose blowing oxygen at you. That's one setup you can have for oxygen in a little plane that's not pressurized. And then yeah, so there's, if you want to tell your passenger how to use that. And oh, another little thing about oxygen masks, if you see them drop down, boom, like don't worry, the plane's not, it's not like the movies where the oxygen masks drop and everyone's like, yeah, and people are getting sucked out the window and planes plummeting to the ground. It usually doesn't happen like that. It's like, oh, we noticed that there's some problem with the pressurization. Well, we better drop the masks. Okay, put on your mask, people. And then like everyone's sitting around like, why? I feel fine. So it's not like, the air gets sucked out. I can't breathe. No, it's not like that. You're not up that high. Like if you're up at, like 40, 50,000 feet, yeah, it's pretty quick. But you never really fly that high in regular jets, 30,000. I forget how many, you got like 30 seconds or something like that, which is actually pretty long. And then like maybe a minute. I forget the exact time, but it's not like, get it on right away. You can take like 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you got your oxygen. 9, 10. I got to get it around my hair. 15, 16. Like you can, you're all good. Number one, just get it on your face. Boom, you got oxygen right away. You can worry about the little elastic strap after. So don't panic if something's like that. That's what that safety redundancy is for. Like, hey, pressurization fails. Yeah, that's why we got this. Like anything that's critical on an airplane, there's always a backup. So yeah, for oxygen masks, and then so you're if you're on a big jet like I was yesterday, okay, pay attention to where the exits were. And I thought Delta did a good job too when they were describing their when they're going through the passenger safety briefing. They were talking about the emergency exits. Locate the closest emergency exit to where you're sitting, and they said, "Oh, and it may be behind you." And it's like, I never thought about that, like because if you're sitting in a plane, you're facing that way, and it's like, oh, there's my emergency exits, but there might be one right behind you. That might be the closest one. So it was pretty good that Delta like reminded people of that. Good call. And then for life vests, if you got that. Now this is one thing I did like the quickest little YouTube search, and before going on the show, that's why the show started off kind of like because I was like, oh, it's showtime, I gotta go. I was looking for to see, they say, oh, there's a life vest located underneath your seat. So like I've never actually taken one out, and I've never seen one taken out. So I kind of looked down there before, and there's like some kind of little strap or something. I'd imagine you just yank it right out, but it was like, I was reaching down. Okay, there's a little strap there. I guess I just yank it out. But it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to, when they're talking about there's a life vest underneath your seat. Yeah, take a reach, take a look, and see if you can grab, like, there's like a little tag or a little loop or something you can pull out. I guess that's how you do it. But I gotta, now that's got me thinking that I've never seen that demonstrated before or anything. So anyone, okay, here's a little hint, or maybe that was demonstrated in the safety briefing video that we were supposed to see. I don't know. I never saw it. It didn't work. But yeah, that might be something to include in a safety video. There's another suggestion if someone's running an airline. Okay, and then so the life vest. What I do know about life vests is where I worked. We had a few like expired. Those life vests have to be certified and checked every. I think it's every 2 years. They got to be checked because they're inflated by a little carbon dioxide, like a compressed carbon dioxide cylinder, and you pop that, and it goes, and like when it pops, it just goes up, squishes your face, blows your glasses off, like it goes. It's pretty wild. So we did that where I worked at, and it's like, hey, we're gonna throw these things out because they're pretty ancient and they weren't expired. We had a ton of them. Someone dropped off a bunch of these things. Like they would work probably, like they're not legal to be, like they're not certified, and they can't be certified. And I think you got to throw them out after like 10 years or something. I forget. They do expire. And like, hey, let's blow one up. So we put one on an instructor's head and went like that, and it goes, and she's like, I can barely breathe. Like it's tight on you. And then we're like, how do we get this off? And they're like, we're trying to pull the life vest off over her head. And it's tight. Like those vests are like, but they gotta kind of keep your body weight from going under the water. So it kind of makes sense. It would be nice and tight, and it has to accommodate like small neck sizes for kids and stuff like that too. So yeah, those things, the only way you can get them off is if you like puncture it and cut it off. Like you need like a jackknife or something, or a pair of scissors, and you can get it off. But once those life vests are on and inflated, they're not going anywhere. So I would say, even if you don't manage to get the little strap around your waist and stuff like that, even you're floating around in the Atlantic or Pacific, you can't quite get it. Who cares? Just inflate it. Your head's going to be really stuck in there. So even if you don't put it on correctly, it'll still do the job in a pinch, I think. And so that's my knowledge about life vests. And yeah, I don't know. That's kind of about it. What else can I tell you there about passenger safety briefings? Yeah, just kind of pay attention to them legally. If you're the pilot, you got to do it, even if it's your buddy that I usually do that even for people that I'm taking up, and they are pilots. I won't do like, I am your captain at the location of the fire extinguisher is here, the safety axe is over here, or whatever, crash axe is over here. first aid kit's located in the back. Like I don't really say that, but I'll if they're all, I've been flying with them a million times, I will go over like, well, you remember how to like, or I'll say something like, is your door closed right? And then they like kind of, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. So now I know they know how to get in and out. How's the door handle? Is that door handle's working okay? Yeah. Or and then I'm like, do you need a safety briefing? And I might just go, yeah, fire extinguisher, fire extinguisher, first aid kit, that stuff, right? Yeah. Okay. So, but I usually will do that for people, even if they're like seasoned pilots and I've been flying with them a bunch of times, or they might have more experience than me. I don't know. I'll usually go over that, not really formally, but I'll make sure they know the basics. I guess that's kind of a that's a professional thing that I got to do it. And yeah, I think that's about it. There we go. Do your passenger safety briefings, and if you are a passenger, pay attention. It may save your life. Well, it might, or make your life easier if you know how to get out. So okay. So, anyways, yeah. What else we got here? Okay. Yeah. So that's about it for my little spiel. We'll go through comments here. Yep. So Daniel was laughing at how picky I am. Well, it is a little picky, but I don't know. You kind of have to be picky about important safety stuff. Samart popped in to say hi. Same with Ranch. And this is a good thing here. I just read it really quick. Always brief on where to throw up. 6 sacks or down your shirt. Pilot doesn't like cleaning up. Yeah, that's right. And always check out where the barf bags are, because that's I don't know. I don't really. I don't know. Fiber fly. When I was a little kid, I threw up on a plane once but I ate something I was allergic to. But it wasn't because of air sickness. But anyways, yeah, pilot definitely does not like cleaning up, Wrench. I don't think I've ever. How much did I clean up? I think I cleaned up some barf once. Well, I did like someone else did the heavy lifting. Got the chunks, but I was like, oh man, this stinks. I better get this out of the carpet here because it's horrible. Yeah, so that was a funny one. This one kid, what was it? It was from this high school class in town, and so part of the high school class was for the kids that were interested in maybe like becoming an aviation mechanic or pilot one day. Just it was considered like a science class, and they went over like aerodynamics and how airplanes work and a little bit of the technical stuff. I think they had them pop a few rivets into some aluminum, and I don't know, it was a neat little thing for. And at part of the class at the end, the class goes up for a scenic flight with where I was working. So I got the 3 kids in there, and it wasn't the kid didn't barf on me, but I was a boss, so I had to kind of the one employee, the pilot, cleaned up the first bit. And as the boss, I said, I don't want to fly in that. I cleaned up the rest. But so the kid was he was like, oh yeah, I forget what it was. He went to McDonald's, right? But like, it's terrible when people they go to McDonald's before going flying. Don't ever do that, man. It's like McDonald's and flying do not mix. And so I forget if he came in with like a great big pop or something. He was like, "Oh yeah, I went to McDonald's, had a great big breakfast," and goes flying, barfs in the back seat. And then so I remember like the next year. Some kid, the same class came by, and I'm like, did anyone here eat at McDonald's? And then the teacher of the class, like, oh no, they were briefed, no McDonald's before flying. So actually the the teacher was a pilot too, so I kind of knew him. But yeah, it was like no McDonald's before flying. But yeah, so good point. Brief on where the 6 sacks are, or barf bags, if you want to call it that. And then what else we got here? Oh, and Wrench took up some robotics kids. Yeah, if you check out Wrench's YouTube channel, he's got a few videos on there because he kind of helps out with the robotics team at a high school there. So it's pretty cool to see these little robots going blowing up other they throw like balls and hoops and things like that, and push each other out of the way. It's kind of cool. All right. You are welcome, Samart. These things are often undermined. Got to take my dog for a walk at 6:20 a.m. here in Auckland. Oh, you're in New Zealand. Cool. All right. Well, have fun walking the dog, dude. And what else? Got another comment here from Wrench. In Wichita, a camera lady walked into a spinning propeller. Ooh, I'll brief that before we're on the tarmac. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think I heard about that actually. It's weird, if because like I could see where if the propeller's spinning and it's not the type of propeller with any markings, like they'll have a yellow tip or white. If it's black and white, you might be able to see the kind of like a spinning disc. But if it's just kind of in your peripheral vision, you won't really see the propeller if you're that close to it. But I mean, man, when it comes to spinning propellers, yeah, generally like if it's gray or something like that, yeah, you kind of don't see it. And yeah, there we go. Yeah, like Wrench is saying, it's invisible. As a general rule for me, I'll show you I'm just scared of spinny things, So I'll show you my general theory on. First, I will draw an airplane. Let's draw a Cessna 172. And look at that! What a great looking Cessna 172. I'd say that's probably the best looking Cessna 172 I've ever seen. Pretty good, eh? So you got your spinny propeller up here. So there's your spinning propeller. Now, what I do if I'm ever, so if I was sending a student up solo, like I'd be in this seat, and always remember, just get into the habit all the time. Even if you're on a low wing airplane, I see people jump off like the airplane's not running, and I see people jump off the front of a low wing airplane that way. Like I always tell them, like, dude, do not. Like I saw one of my instructors doing that once. I'm like, dude, never jump off the front, even if it's not spinning propeller or anything like that, because you should like just always get in the habit. You're coming out, exit towards the back of the airplane. So that's the way I would keep the engine running as I send a student solo. I'd get out here, do up the seatbelt, give them a little briefing, go out the door, slam it, and then head back here. And then as I walked behind the plane here, I would always, because there's going to be some prop blast, I'd shield my eye from the prop blast walking by, just in case some dust or something is going there, and then walk by here and then go back there and send the student up solo. So that's what I would always do, to always exit towards the back. And you brief that with your passenger briefing too. But my rule for propeller safety is I always imagine, okay, this isn't exactly to scale. Let's make those wings a bit bigger. So I always imagine here that here's the center of the airplane and this is your wingspan. I kind of imagine if you take that wing and rotate it like that. I never get, if the propeller's spinning, I always imagine like a little even circle this distance to this distance. And like, I'll just stay away from that. Yeah, I never get in that little zone in my mind. It's like propellers there, wingtips there, like, so this would generally be, I don't know, and I'll be way further over here. So there's me way over there, and yeah, I'd stay away from that as much as possible. And you also got to remember too, if this propeller is spinning, there's a pilot there holding the brakes with their toes. What if the brakes fail? What if the pilot's distracted, drops his pen, starts looking for the pen, takes his feet off the brakes and starts creeping forward at you? Like always imagine that this thing's going to start moving towards you. So don't just, I'll go within, I'm cool, I'll go within 6 feet. No, take it like 10 feet minimum, 6 or something like that. But yeah, and always keep your eye on it too when you're walking by. So yeah. But yeah, if you're not around airplanes, yeah, if you're just some, and maybe everything's noisy, you could just be like walking over here with your camera. I don't know. There's a camera lens, and you're walking back. Oh, I got to get it into the frame. Walking back, boom. And another really bad one there is for if you ever see like a twin otter float plane. Like a lot of people, they get out of the float planes, and that the propeller might be spinning over the dock, and people walk towards the front, which you should never ever do, ever. Always go towards the back, and then people walk into the prop from behind. So not good, not good. Pay attention to those spinny things. Like they scare the bejesus out of me, man. It's like, stay away. Always assume that it's going to start coming at you. All right, well, there we go. Let's clean off our whiteboard to stop any shadowing that might occur. And if you're a flight instructor, always wipe off the whiteboard when you're done. I see a lot of people don't do that, but that's one of my little picky things, because you might not have a lesson for another few weeks or something, and then you got shadowing on the whiteboard. Okay, there we go. That's that. Okay, and yeah, so okay, today is Wednesday. I'm back in town again, so I will be back on Friday, because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern when I'm in town. And yeah, we'll just kind of shut her down. So thank you for watching. Bye.